first win of the tournament. Elsewhere, England went into their second fixture in Group L, having won their opening game against Croatia. They face Ghana today. We'll also bring you the very latest news from around planet football, including an update on Neymar's fitness for Brazil. As we welcome you along to Scoreline 48 Nations, Adam Hunt here with Chris Wittyngham and Ian Joy. Big hello to everyone watching on YouTube. Please send in your questions and comments for the guys. We'll get to the best ones throughout the show. We've just watched an entertaining, hard-fought game once again in Guadalajara. Colombia beating DR Congo by 1-0. The fullback Daniel Muñoz continuing his brilliant start to the World Cup with another goal, proved to be the winner, and Colombia now top the group and only need a draw against Portugal to come out as winners from Group K. You can see confirmation of them topping the group on 6 points here right now with a +3 goal difference. So Portugal do have a better goal difference, but they are a couple of points behind with a win and a draw. DR Congo still on that point that they got from the Portugal game on 1 point. Uzbekistan, they are down there in fourth on 0 points. Guys, what do we make of the game, Witty? In the end, just that moment of quality that we said at halftime Colombia needed, and it came from the fullback.
Sometimes it's quality and sometimes it's luck as well. You get that little bit of luck. Daniel Muñoz arriving, gets a strike towards goal, a little bit of a deflection on it. I think ultimately it was the just reward for Colombia's performance in the game. I thought they were the much more enterprising team. I thought at some point that was going to come for them, whether it was in the first half or the second half from James, from Quintero, who came on in the second half, I thought made a decent impact as well in the game. Lucho Diaz could have had a couple. I thought there was one where he was offside, where it was derelict for him to have been offside given the position they was in running forward. But yeah, I think in the overall, this was a deserved result, Ian. I thought Colombia were the better side on the day. And DR Congo, even having gone a goal behind, I don't think ever really fully responded and really made Colombia sweat too much for it.
Yeah, it's only the second time ever that Colombia have won their first 2 group games in a World Cup, which is important to recognise. They did it in 2014, obviously. They got off to a terrific start there, and they relied heavily on their superstars in doing so. They didn't have to be at their very best, even in the second game, to be able to make it a second victory. But to Chris's point there, it was always going to come down to an individual. I don't think collectively as a team it was a terrific team performance, but there's no doubt if you look at the 20 shots, 9 on target, they created enough chances to score more goals than 1 in this game. There were individual performances that were good. There was no one that was exceptional, although Muñoz, I thought, was the one that stood out in the first 45 minutes, probably should have had a goal. He was a fraction offside. And then to eventually get his goal by courtesy of a slight deflection is a credit to see. He also scored on match day 1 as well. So it's been a great start to the World Cup for him. But that's great to see from Colombia, because it wasn't a great DR Congo performance here. I thought they were timid in their performance. I thought they were very defensive-minded. You're a team that's trying to create history in a FIFA World Cup, and Colombia found it difficult because they were sitting back defensively and they were trying to frustrate them instead of actually advancing themselves to go and try and win the game themselves. And what happens is when you play against quality teams who have top-class players, they'll find a way to beat you, and that's what Colombia did.
It's interesting when we talk about the form of some of Colombia's players. We were talking pre-match about James Rodriguez. You almost can throw his club form out the window. He always turns up for his national side. But a player in this team whose club form has been superb this season, he's been brilliant for Crystal Palace, lifted trophies, won a European trophy, won the Conference League, didn't he? And then carried that form straight into the World Cup, is this guy, Daniel Muñoz. What is he doing, Witty, that these teams are unable to cope with?
I'll credit my brother for this joke. We were texting about this game, and he calls him, instead of the right back, the right striker. Because he really is a player who just bombs forward. He gets into such good attacking positions for Colombia. And I think for Palace as well, because they play in that wing-back setup, it's 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-1-2, whatever you want to call it. It's a perfect setup for him just to get forward. And he has this volume and this ability to get into good positions and not look uncomfortable when he has ventured forward and gotten into those sorts of areas. So, yeah, that is one of those moments for him where you carry probably the best season of your club career. You win a European trophy, having just won an FA Cup as well, carried into a World Cup and really make it stick. Honestly, one of the things that is almost disappointing in sort of researching his history and his background is he's 30 years old. Because otherwise you'd make him a big-time shout to be one of those players that gets a big European move. You don't often see that happen for players in their 30s. Not to say that he's ancient or anything, but it is one of those things where it generally doesn't happen for you. But he has absolutely announced himself himself on a big stage in the last 18 months, 24 months, and he is well deserving of the credit that he's going to get in this game.
It looks to me, Ian, and you probably played with players like this during your career, he plays as a right wing back, but you feel like he's got enough in his locker to be able to play almost any position on the pitch.
You know what, Adam? I think it's changed from my time. Fullbacks were fullbacks in my generation. They weren't necessarily wingers, you know? Now there was the odd player, the Roberto Carloses of this world, to basically put themselves in more advanced positions. But it's not a fullback anymore. It's like a goalkeeper where that position's changed, you've got to be much better with your feet. A fullback now, you essentially need to be good on 1v1s, you need to be incredibly good when it comes to crossing, and you also have to at times try to get on the end of crosses. This guy plays in his own position though. He doesn't play right fullback, he doesn't play right wing back, he doesn't even play right wing. He plays like a right attacker. It's almost as if he's right next to the number 9, waiting to be the next guy to get a goal. Back-to-back games in the World Cup is truly spectacular. Got himself 5 goals and 46 appearances for Crystal Palace across all comps. 4 of them came in the Premier League this season. He's been excellent. Wonderful to watch. And I'm like, Chris, I look at this guy playing. He plays like a 22-year-old. How fast he just bombs forward without even thinking what I've got to do defensively. He's gone. And I love that. That's creative. But I want to see also his teammates play to that standard too. There were a few performers that I expected more from today in a Colombia jersey that didn't really stand up and didn't really grab my attention enough. I wanted to see more from James Rodriguez, even though he did have a good number of chances created. I want to see more from him. I want to see more from Lucho Diaz. Suarez, I thought, looked out of place and many times in this game. So it was crazy to me to see a fullback was the one who actually won the game.
Witty, there is something to be said, though, and they will need those big-name players to be a bit more involved maybe later on in this tournament where they have to come up against the big nations. But to be able to grind out a result when I know Lucho Diaz was involved much more in the second half and he had those opportunities, a goal disallowed, didn't he? But where you can still get the result that you need without having to rely too heavily on those star players.
Yeah, it's one of those things we talk about in terms of at a World Cup. You want to build up. And so in some ways, you don't want to kind of have everything going perfectly from the off. And I think that has been the story for Colombia at this tournament. I don't think even against Uzbekistan, even though they won the game by 3-1, they were necessarily perfect in that game. No. But they're getting the results now. I think they're a team that is incredibly streetwise and savvy, that has tons of experience. It's one of those incredibly fine lines in analyzing sport, isn't it? When an older team does well, we say that they're experienced. When they do poorly, they're too old and they need a turnover of generation. I think they're on just the right side of it. They're a team that has won so much together. They were fantastic for large portions of qualifying. They got to the final, the last Copa America. So this is a group that is playing very well together, and they always have done. But I guess the question now is, what is that ceiling? What does it look like on Luis Diaz's best day? If James Rodriguez, is this one major tournament too many for him to have been involved in? I think on the evidence of 2 games, he was okay today. But I think on the evidence of 2 games, this might have been one major tournament too many for him in his career. So I think there are definitely some players here that are showing some promise, but is it all going to come together when they play Portugal in the final game of the group?
One of the stats that came out from Opta actually today was James Rodriguez being the first player from Colombia to create 5 goal-scoring opportunities in a World Cup match since Carlos Valderrama did it against England back in 1998. Love these statistics, but I do think we need more from Colombia. I'm really intrigued to see how they handle this final group game, right? Because now you got to go win the group, right? It's great to see these types of performances, but there's a real possibility to see them winning the group would be spectacular. And then you build momentum going into the knockout stages. I actually think now you're also trying to figure out who you're going to come up against when it comes to the knockout stages. Which part of the bracket are you going to end up in now? We're starting to look ahead past these final group games when you're already qualified. Listen, it's good from Colombia, Adam, but there's room for improvement now. And you're coming up against stiffer opposition. That includes match day 3.
It would be Croatia. If it stays as it is, it would be Croatia in the first knockout round. It could be a lot of teams.
It could be Ghana as well. Those are really the only 2 teams for them. If they win, so basically it comes down to Croatia-Ghana on the final day. If Croatia win that game, they would finish second, potentially even first. Yeah. And then Ghana would finish third. So you'd probably rather play Ghana than Croatia, I would say, at this point.
I don't know.
Not having watched them against England. Time for a short break here on Scoreline 48 Nations. We've got plenty more coming up after this short break.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion!
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here. Now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt. What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Scoreline 48 Nations. Earlier in Group K, Portugal clinched their first victory of the World Cup with a 5-0 hammering of Uzbekistan. Who else but Cristiano Ronaldo was the star of the show with 2 goals as he became the first player to score in 6 World Cups. Let's hear from CR7 now with his assessment of his and the team's performance.
Eu chego sempre. Mais cedo ou mais tarde, eu estou lá. Por isso, é continuar o meu trabalho. Eu acredito muito naquilo que faço. Acredito muito que quem trabalha, Deus ajuda. A minha carreira foi sempre assim. Não ia mudar nada. E estou muito feliz, porque para mim o principal é a equipa. Estar unido com eles, estar unidos com as nossas famílias, que isso sabemos que podemos controlar. Tudo o resto que vem de fora não podemos controlar, porque sabemos que quando não jogamos bem ou não ganhamos, somos sempre atacados. Principalmente eu, mas já, como disse anteriormente, já estou acostumado e sigo o barco.
Humble, deflecting, doesn't want to make it all about himself. Oh, wait, sorry. Cristiano Ronaldo, what a performance, though, we have to say that. 145 goals now in 230 appearances in international football. Most World Cup goals in Portugal's history. You could probably do about 15 graphics like this with all the number of stats that he has managed to achieve. And just repeat there, the first man to score in 6 World Cups in history and the second oldest goal scorer in World Cup history. Ian,
yes.
Was this the response that the football world was waiting for?
It was certainly what I was waiting for. I needed Cristiano Ronaldo to get on the score sheet just to shut everybody up, including myself. I was desperate to see Cristiano perform. I was desperate to see him score that opening goal. I was desperate for him also to break a Portuguese record for World Cup goals. He's now overtaken Eusebio, now on the double figures, which is terrific, albeit Eusebio did it in 1 World Cup. This is the Ronaldo that I wanted to watch this World Cup for. I want to see the greatest players play in the FIFA World Cup. And Cristiano Ronaldo is a great, whether you like it or not. But It is against Uzbekistan, and he's expected to score. This is his job. And, of course, Portugal responded with Cristiano. Getting that first goal was so important, though, so early on. I think calmed his nerves around. It calmed the team's nerves. And then, obviously, they get the second goal off the free kick, which was very, very good. I just thought Portugal were by far a class above, and Cristiano Ronaldo was a class above everybody else on the pitch today.
I've heard, Witty, the "it's only Uzbekistan" claim, and you can make that point, but also you can only beat and you can only score against the team that you're playing. And he did what he needed to do and started the game. I mean, he looked to me, the minute he walked out from that tunnel, I am going to score at least one goal in this game.
And I think as well, it's not necessarily the fact that he scored it, it's the manner of the goals that he scored. If it was because...
He could have had more.
Of course, right. I mean, there was a sort of lacking of physicality, which is still startling for Ronaldo, but I still think that there's a couple moments where if he's quicker, he can get on a touch and maybe get 3 or 4. But I think, to your point, I think it's not necessarily about the fact that he scored against a team that was making mistakes or that gifted him goals, though there was very nearly one chance where they did. It was about the sharp movement in the penalty area. It's about getting to the right spots. It's about finishing with the defender closing down on you first time into the bottom corner, a precise finish that gets you into a good area. So I think it is about the fact that Ronaldo looked like the kind of goals that we see him score in Saudi Arabia. Not maybe the goals that he scored legendarily throughout his career, but he has now become a box predator. He has now become a traditional number 9. It was not necessarily his archetype for the lion's share of his career at Real Madrid, but he is now that player. And so when you go hunting goals, and your whole job is to hunt goals, and the team, which I think could be playing in other ways, is hunting goals for you, you have to take the chances. And that's exactly what he did in this game, especially, as you say, early in the 6th minute, when all of a sudden you're thinking, can he get a hat trick? Can he get 4 or 5? And really grow in confidence as this tournament goes on.
Can I also add that when you're playing for this Portugal with that many creators in the team, you best be scoring goals. Cristiano Ronaldo is very lucky now, at his age, to be able to be in a position where he doesn't have to necessarily go the extra mile, run the extra yard, to be able to get on the score sheet for Portugal, because the creation for him from Nuno Mendes, that one you were talking about where he was a yard off, cross from the left-hand side, Bruno with his 25th assist, which is absolutely incredible. It's wonderful to see the artistry that is around Cristiano Ronaldo. You best be scoring goals. And I think that's where we're at right now with Portugal. Cristiano scoring goals, he keeps himself in the team. Cristiano Ronaldo runs this team. He's the captain, the leader. He's the icon of Portuguese football. He's now broken this record from Eusebio, which is something we all have to bow down to. He is Cristiano. But we still need to recognise that Portugal can do more. They were expected to beat Uzbekistan. They probably should have scored 10 goals against this Uzbekistan. Ronaldo should have scored more goals himself against Uzbekistan. His statistics in this game, as you just saw a moment ago, were exceptional. Got himself a couple of goals, obviously. 5 shots on target, the most by any player on the field. 7 shots, the most taken by any player on the field. 10 touches of his 35, I think it was, in the opposition box. He was busy, he was active, he was hungry, and he showed us exactly what Cristiano Ronaldo, even at the grand age of 41, can still do. But I still want to see more, right? We've got stiffer opposition coming up next for Portugal. Let's see how you perform there against better defensive opposition, better organised teams. But take nothing away. This was a great Portuguese performance. It wasn't just about Cristiano Ronaldo, even if the headlines say so.
And as we saw there from the SofaScore ratings, he was actually the 3rd highest rated player.
Who was the most rated?
They had Nuno Mendes and Bruno Fernandes, I think, both got
And isn't that sort of, and you mentioned sort of coming in, he didn't make it about himself. It is fascinating that this team, and obviously it is the nature of star power in our sport. Obviously the story of the day yesterday was Haaland, Mbappe, Messi. The stars have shown up at this World Cup. And yet it is sort of the nature where it becomes all-encompassing, where the only thing we talk about with Portugal is Ronaldo. When, as you said earlier, this is a fabulous team. With a team of fullbacks that create, with a team of midfielders, including Bruno Fernandes, who's the best in the Premier League, the best in the history of the Premier League in terms of creating for others. Vitinha and João Neves, who was absolutely fantastic in midfield. Leao came on and scored a great goal. This is a brilliant team. And the reason why we talk about Ronaldo so much is because I do think that he might be the one anchor on them potentially winning things because they are so good otherwise. And it's not even necessarily just Ronaldo. It is the number 9 position in the overall.
Absolutely.
Because if he would have been replaced by a better striker, he would have done. Gonzalo Ramos has not lived up to the billing.
Yeah.
And so I think it sometimes feels as well that this Portugal team is Cristiano Ronaldo and Cristiano Ronaldo is Portugal.
But that's not true. I mean, it just isn't true on the basis of how good of players they have. It's only true on the basis of celebrity.
He's the most popular player, right? And also, we must not forget, the guy's almost at 1,000 goals, right? So what he has done for football is truly exceptional. You have to admire what Cristiano has done. In his club career, exceptional. Also for Portuguese football, Adam, it's been truly special what he's achieved. And to do this even at a World Cup at 41 years old. Listen, I'm 44 years old and I can barely get out of bed. I've even played a fifth of what this guy's played. This is an unbelievable specimen of a human being. He is a complete athlete, like no other we have ever seen in our game. We can simply say that Lionel Messi is probably the greatest footballer we've ever seen. But there has been some greats, right? Diego Maradona, obviously, Pele they've won the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup. But Cristiano Ronaldo, when it comes to athleticism, I don't think there's ever been a player like him.
No,
the way he looks after himself, the way he performs, and at 41 years old, to still be able to do that is truly special and remarkable.
The point I was going to talk about was the fact that Roberto Martinez, you end up not really talking about him. It might as well be a bus driver being the Portugal coach, because we're just focusing so much on the great players, and quite rightly so, and Cristiano Ronaldo at the head of that. We had a heated debate, didn't we, the other day after the first game about whether or not this team was too much about Ronaldo and whether it should be a bit more focused about some of the other great players. Did you see any development, and some of this maybe can point to the coaching of Roberto Martinez, that this was more of a team that's pointing more towards the 11 as opposed to just the number 1 in CR7?
How much have we spent talking about the rest of the team? I mean, no, it really is. It's one of those things, and it is a narrative thing. I do think in the overall, there was much more purpose about their play. They roughly had the same level of possession that they did against DR Congo. DR Congo, as proven against Colombia, I think is stiffer opposition than what we've seen from Uzbekistan. But I do think still, you have to do something with that possession, and there was just a level of threat. They kept pushing, and they kept going after DR Congo in a way that, again, wasn't just about Ronaldo, but the thing is still about Ronaldo. And there was a tiny bit of me that wonders if these goals might prove to be a little bit of a red herring. If they might prove to be a little bit of, you know, that meme of the dog in the house, and the house is on fire, and the dog just says everything is fine. I wonder if these are the everything is fine goals, and that actually they almost might live to regret the fact that Ronaldo sort of got these starring roles, so you don't actually ask the questions of yourself that need to be asked. I don't know if they were ever going to ask these questions seriously about Ronaldo and say, we need to come up with a different plan. We need to come up with a different way of playing at this World Cup. I think at this World Cup, it is Ronaldo or bust. But I think in the overall, maybe these two goals will prove to be a little bit of, I don't know, maybe this was the outlier in an otherwise performance that was turgid and not good enough from him up front.
I disagree with the Ronaldo or bust part, because I do think that the names you've mentioned and the impact that they've had in this Portuguese team is a real threat for the rest of the teams in this competition. Let's say Ronaldo cannot play any more games. They will be okay, Portugal. They'll still be a threat to potentially winning this trophy. Some of the statistics we won't ever get to, because we're talking about the great Cristiano Ronaldo, deserve to be mentioned. I'm going to mention them right now. Obviously great for Cristiano Ronaldo, but Nuno Mendes scored a free kick, his second ever national team goal. He became the 5th Paris Saint-Germain player to score a goal in this World Cup already. Excellent goal. He actually took the ball off Cristiano Ronaldo to score the goal. We saw Rafa Leão get his first ever World Cup goal, which was spectacular in itself. Bruno Fernandes getting his 25th national team assist. These are all terrific household names now in our game. They've all won trophies or been successful at their domestic club, and they deserve just as much praise that what we're giving Cristiano Ronaldo. But because he's the most popular person in our sport, competitive with Messi, we have to mention him and talk about him. But there's one player, or maybe, should I say, coach, that I'd like to talk about, Adam Hunt. You mentioned Martinez, and I think he deserves his flowers, because I can't imagine that's an easy job, being in that locker room. You've got big personalities, including one of the biggest in their game. Austin McPhee, the Scottish coach, is the assistant coach of Martinez there. They got a couple of goals off set pieces today. He is a specialist set piece coach for Aston Villa, but also for the Portuguese national team. And from what I'm reading about Austin McPhee, the impact he's had in this team is great. But also what he's saying about this team is they're way more together than people think. We just think it's about Ronaldo. It's not. It's about everyone, including the Scots, that are inside that camp.
He always makes it about the Scots. Get rid of Ronaldo. As long as we've got Austin McPhee, we're going to win the World Cup.
Free kick now.
Cristiano Ronaldo surged into the Golden Boot race here at the World Cup, having not managed to score in the opening game. He is now one behind Jonathan David and Dennis Undav Haaland on 4, Mbappe on 4, Messi leading the way on 5, and 19 other players are alongside Ronaldo with a couple of goals. Time for a short break here.
And not Ronaldo.
Scoreline 48 nations. We've got plenty more coming up. After the break, we won't be talking about Cristiano Ronaldo anymore.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated. If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And we live the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Scoreline 48 Nations. Let's jump over to Group L now, where we saw England back in action in Boston against Ghana. It was a 0-0 draw. They were hoping to make it 2 wins in a row after beating Croatia 4-2 on match day 1. Let's hear from England midfielder Jude Bellingham now on how the Three Lions will have to pick themselves up.
Yeah, I think you've got to roll with it. I think when we play well, like the other day, we got the credit we deserved, and we weren't at our best again today. It's normal that there's going to be a little bit of noise, and that's completely fair and completely normal for us. It's just about cracking on, getting back to Kansas, recovering well, analysing what we did, and keep going the same way that we was going before, with the same mentality, with the same attitude, and we'll be fine.
So England move on to 4 points, level with Ghana, but they're ahead of them on goal difference going into the final match day in the group. Croatia just 1 point behind, having won their game against Panama to move on to 3 points. Panama with 2 1-0 defeats, so unfortunately that means they are eliminated from the competition. Ian, what was your assessment of England's performance today? No harm, no foul, a 0-0 draw. They continue, but not the result they were looking for, particularly after how well they played in that second half against Croatia.
Listen, I find it very hard to criticise this England performance. I thought they did everything to win this game 1-0. They just didn't have that finishing touch. They had enough shots in this game, not enough shots on target. Maybe a disappointing performance from your main man, Harry Kane, that normally comes up with the goods, especially with the big opportunity he had and the rebound after O'Reilly's header off the crossbar. Should have stuck that one away. There were multiple chances that England should have stuck away, but they didn't do. I watched the game. I thought Ghana deserve a lot of credit for their heart, for their determination, for their organisation, for their goalkeeping performance. I just saw a very tactically well-organised Ghana side that were difficult to break down, and England were trying to penetrate consistently, but they were missing something special. They were missing a moment of brilliance. They were missing that finish, but I actually think they were missing more the creation than they were actually missing the finishing touch. Didn't see that number 10 step up. Jude Bellingham, it wasn't his best performance. I know he won man of the match, but it wasn't his best performance. Declan Rice actually stood out. He had 12 crosses in this game, including obviously corner kicks, which is a ridiculous number for a player playing in centre midfield. But where do you need the action to come from when you're playing against a Ghana side that sits in an incredibly low block? I mean, they were, considering their first game, they were probably 15 yards deeper in this game than what they were in that first game. And they were happy to take the pressure. Nothing from Anthony Gordon. Jude was poor. Madueke 1v1 looked timid as hell. And Harry Kane didn't bring his shooting boots. How can you expect to win games when that's the case? I thought outside of that though, Adam, maybe a bit lucky to not concede a penalty kick in the game. But I thought it was okay. And I would say England should be happy with this result. They didn't lose it.
Yeah, and I think that when we saw Rashford and Saka come on, we did see a difference in the game. And I do think that Thomas Tuchel, Witty, is going to be thinking going into that last group game and further forward, potentially into the knockout phase, those are players I'm going to have to turn to maybe as a starter, as opposed to Anthony Gordon or maybe Noni Madueke. Madueke wasn't as bad in the first game, but Anthony Gordon has had two howlers really there to start the World Cup. I mean, Barca fans are probably thinking, what on earth have we signed? Because that's not really good enough, is it?
Yeah, I think in the overall, I think especially, we're talking about this team as a potential tournament winner. I think when you compare them to France, I don't think there's one, maybe, would you take Mbappe out of France? I wouldn't. I don't think there's one of those four that gets into the French side.
Great.
And I think that is the thing, if you're going to criticize England, is there was this feeling, probably about 18 months, 2 years ago, that they just had this unlimited well of talent. And it's talent, but what is it really in a genuine game of consequence? And I just think that you went through all these guys, and look, to be fair, I think a lot of people were thinking about Cole Palmer, were thinking about Phil Foden today,
sure,
but they did not live up to expectations in the last season. I think a lot of these guys have not hit the very best levels. The only one for me who has is obviously Saka, who won the Premier League. He's being nursed to an injury. I think they're thinking about the longer term with him, which makes sense. This game, in the grander scheme of things, is not really that important. As you mentioned, it's not that bad of a...
I think that's unfair on Bellingham. Definitely not last season, but the previous season where they won the Champions League, he was a monster, wasn't he?
Yeah, but would you take Olise or Dembele over him right now?
Would you take him over Cherki?
I guess what...
No, I mean, but we're talking about the starter. We're talking about the starters.
Cherki can't even get into France.
No, my point was that I thought you were saying that Saka was the only player.
Oh, I see. Yes, I see what you mean.
He has done that a bit, just a while ago.
I agree with you. I mean, it has fallen off since Mbappe arrived at Real Madrid, but yes, he has absolutely been brilliant. But I think in the overall, I think some of these players are not really the top level. And we're talking about winning this thing. They're not the top level, the elite of the elite. They're good players together. I think it's a well-formed system. I think they can beat France in a one-off game. They can beat Spain in a one-off game, but I just don't think that they're very best.
And a one-off game is all you need, right? When it comes to a World Cup, you don't need to have the best individuals. You need to have the best team at the right time performing well. First performance against Croatia, first half, okay, they conceded a couple of goals, was still pretty good. And the performance overall against Croatia was excellent, I would say. And then, of course, you've got Harry Kane taking his opportunities in front of goal. Didn't do that in this game. If Harry Kane scores that goal and it's 1-0, we're having a bit of a different conversation. To your point, I agree. Household names and world-class superstars on paper, England don't necessarily have that. In this past season, if you're going by form, Jude Bellingham, not his best season. Anthony Gordon, not his best season outside of what he did do in the Champions League. He was pretty poor in the Premier League. Madueke couldn't even get into his team consistently. Saka was injured the majority of the time. So a lot of the players who started that game or influenced that game in some way weren't at their best. The only one they're relying on scoring the goals is Harry Kane, who's been in the best of form, obviously, for Bayern Munich. So, yes, I agree with you, not household names. But England just need to get through to the knockout stages and then start to hit form. But I want to know from you real quickly, you mentioned something important here. Thomas Tuchel's getting away with it right now. I agree with you. I don't think that was good team selection. You're going up against a team that you know is going to be a low block. They were a lot lower than I thought they were going to be. They sat back.
They were under the floor. They were that low. Yeah.
That's hard to break down.
Yeah.
So, one, we questioned the team selection, Adam, which I'm asking you, but also we're questioning now the squad selection, because there are a number of players, to Chris, who just pointed out there with Foden and Palmer not in there. Thomas Tuchel got it wrong a little bit.
Yeah,
there,
I think he got it wrong necessarily going forward, but at the back he got it right. He put Gay in. There was some criticism about the defensive performance against Croatia. Gay looked a lot more solid, and I do think it's going to be Gay in concert going forward, and they did keep a clean sheet. But the other team that kept a clean sheet and played a good game, as we mentioned at the start, was Ghana, and we do, I think, have to pay tribute to Carlos Queiroz. He's a hugely experienced coach. He's worked as both an assistant coach, famously at Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson for a long time, and then as a head coach more recently as well. This guy knows how to organise a team, doesn't he, Witty?
Yes. It's like watching paint dry for me. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I appreciate that. Yeah, he took this job over with, 4 games to get ready for the World Cup, and you got to manage your 4th game at the World Cup. But man, that was watching paint dry today. I 2 shots, 1 on target, no threat. I think this team can play with at least a little bit more endeavor. I mean, that forward line has Iñaki Williams, Jordan Ayew, Antoine Semenyo. They've got good players in forward positions, and yet we see nothing from them. And look, again, you enter in a difficult situation. They were rotten going into the World Cup. He's got a job. He does his thing, but look, you have to get a result against England, and they got the job done. You can't question it. But as you mentioned, there are moments. Moments have decided this. They hit for 1 counterattack against Panama, and they scored and Harry Kane missed that sitter. If he scores that sitter, we're talking about a different thing. So I personally do not like it. I don't want to see teams play like it, but I appreciate that in a World Cup, when you're going against teams or you're outmatched, that this is what you have to do. And also, and Ian, I think you may be going to make the same point. We saw the record coming in, and that was the reason why Carlos Queiroz got the job. But he's almost doing, what we saw back in the day, Sam Allardyce, Tony Pulis, those kind of managers who saved teams in the Premier League did. You take over a club that's in complete disarray, is on a long losing run, you organise the lads, and then you worry about the rest later, and it worked.
Listen, I disagree with Chris. I've been in this position many times before. When you go into a game as a complete underdog, you celebrate performances like this. What Carlos Queiroz has done, and of course he had success at Manchester United when he was with Sir Alex Ferguson, won the Premier League title there, let's not forget that. He's been at the World Cup before. He's had a short period of time, this being only his 4th game in charge of Ghana. He's managed to get every single player bought in, including big personalities, right? Ayew, Semenyo, Williams. He managed to get them working defensively, and that is an art in itself. I mean, it's terrific to see, obviously, Ghana's record against England. Ghana remain one of the only 5 nations that England have not found a way to be able to beat, by the way, so I'm going to throw that out at you. But I'm going to give a little bit of credit to the goalkeeper, Asare, because I thought he was absolutely terrific in this game. He needed to come up with a couple of big saves. Obviously, a bit lucky that Harry Kane didn't bring his shooting boots, but he got a clean sheet against England at the World Cup, which is absolutely spectacular for a player who spent his entire club career in Ghana. Benjamin Asare plays for Hearts of Oak, had a heart of steel in that game. And that's what Ghana had. Like, I love it, and listen, I used to love it in training, and I used to love it in games going up against some of the best teams and the best players. When you were all together and you didn't concede a goal, there's a moment to celebrate. This is huge for Ghana, by the way. They have a real possibility now of going on and causing some problems against some of the best opposition. If they can do it against England, they can do it against other opposition, and might have even won it with, again, a controversial refereeing decision. I thought maybe we should have seen a penalty kick in this game.
What did
Chris?
you think of that? Did you think it was a pen?
I am a little bit less certain of it than everyone is. I saw this on social media. How come this wasn't looked at on VAR? And look, he leaps, he sticks both legs out, he doesn't get the ball, doesn't really get anywhere near the ball, but we're looking at the images of it. I don't think there's a great deal of contact there. I really don't. So, yes, if you want to talk about impeding progress, and the player doesn't really go down, he doesn't say, oh, I've been fouled. He gets right back up and tries to pounce on the rebound. So I'm not necessarily as sold on it being a stone-cold, stone-wall penalty that should have been looked at by VAR. And by the way, we're seeing throughout this World Cup, the threshold for VAR is incredibly high. It has to be
a good thing, though, right?
Right, exactly. And that, by the way, and it's kind of funny because all these people talking about social media, watch the Premier League, watch European football, watch Serie A, watch all these leagues and go, oh, VAR is way too involved. VAR has ruined the game. Yeah. And then you want them to get involved at exactly the right moment that I think it's right. I don't know. I think the threshold has been incredibly high, and I didn't think that this rose to the level of what they've set so far.
I think it was as well. I think the contact came from his backside on the thigh, and therefore he nudged him off the ball. But the two-footed thing was a bit of a concern for me, especially inside that penalty. There was a hint of desperation there. But as you saw, he got back up and took a shot, and he actually hit Semenyo, who was in an offside position. If Semenyo wasn't there, it was going in the back of the net. So there wasn't really that concern from the player, so why should there be concern from us? There's all this fuss all the time about wanting penalty kicks, man. I think the way FIFA are running it right now and the officials deserve a great deal of praise. Let the game go, and if you're going to get a penalty kick, let it be a deserved one. This wasn't.
I'm just aware we were going to be positive about Ghana, and I've just called Carlos Queiroz the Portuguese Tony Pulis, which I thought was a bit unfair.
I mean, sometimes Tony Pulis is a compliment.
That's a job done. Time for a short break here on Scoreline 48 Nations. We've got plenty more coming up for you after the break.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad in my camp.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to Scoreline 48 Nations. Let's recap some of the biggest news from around planet football now, starting in England. And Chelsea have reportedly agreed in principle to sign this man, Marco Palestra from Atalanta, for a fee of approximately $65 million plus add-ons. The 21-year-old Italian right wing-back is set to sign a 5-year contract at Stamford Bridge. Inter Milan had been closing in on Palestra for several weeks. Inter had reportedly agreed a slightly lower fee with Atalanta, and Palestra had already agreed personal terms with the club. But in the end, the Blues swooped in to scupper the deal, and he will be heading to West London. Just a few miles away in London, we jump to Fulham, and former Real Madrid manager Alvaro Arbeloa is in the process of finalising an agreement to take charge at Craven Cottage, according to reports. Arbeloa was highly rated thanks to his work in the Real Madrid academy, more so than his grueling 4-month spell in charge of the senior team. After that, he'll replace Marco Silva, who has already left to join Benfica for the new season. Back to the World Cup, some news concerning Neymar. He completed his first full training session with the Brazil squad on Sunday and is expected to feature in some part in Wednesday's Group C encounter against Scotland in Miami. We're all looking forward to that game. Neymar missed Brazil's first 2 games with a right calf injury. And that game, just a confirmation, is at 6 p.m. Eastern in Miami, Scotland against Brazil. Both teams needing a result in that one. Do we think that he's going to start the game? Is there any chance at all that he starts the game, Witty?
I think start would be an incredibly big risk. I think this is one of those where you gauge and see where you're at in the game. If Brazil are in a competitive game with Scotland, I think winning the group is important for them. If it's a 1-goal game, I don't know if I'd risk it. I think it's only if they're in sort of a comfortable margin in the lead. I think Neymar at this point, when you're coming off a calf injury, calf is one of those that is incredibly easy to re-aggravate. And so I think if you're talking about playing him in a game, it's in a very specific situation that'll be suitable to him, and you see what he can give you in a short burst. And I think really that'll have to be his role for the remainder of the tournament. I don't think there's a scenario that I see, unless he comes out and shocks us all and looks like the Neymar of 2014. I don't see a scenario where he starts a game at this World Cup. I think he has to be a role player to execute a specific role if Brazil need a bit of magic off the bench. But I think that's Vinicius Jr.'s wing from the start, and Neymar can maybe add to it a little bit here and there. But I can't see them taking the risk of starting him, reactivating the injury, got to use a sub after 15 minutes. I don't see it.
Well, they haven't done for the first 2 match days, right? They've been cautious in the first 2 match days, and they've kept him completely out. He hasn't even travelled. So they've been extremely cautious. And I wonder if that's just to try and get him to 100%. Now, what we're hearing from Ancelotti is he's 100% and he can play the full 90 minutes. So, listen, if he's saying that about Neymar, this is the World Cup of superstars right now. There are a few better than Neymar out there that people want to see in this World Cup. I certainly don't want to see him out there playing against Scotland. I'd love to see him not play any minute in this competition, but at the same time, I want to see Neymar be healthy when he performs. What I don't want is I don't want Neymar going out there, getting injured early, and then all of a sudden he's out for the rest of the tournament. What I don't want is Neymar going out there and having to make a substitution for Brazil, who need to win this game, obviously. But Neymar puts himself into a position here. He's in the squad for a reason. He's in the squad because he can be a difference maker. And that's not an easy game. You're going up against a Scotland side that will absolutely get stuck into you as well. And Neymar is about to get absolutely humped up and down that field if he's out there. He best be 100% healthy, because Scotland are determined to get something from this game. They're not going to play around here. They don't care what name's on the back of the jersey. So it's a risk.
And Ancelotti also confirmed that Rafinha will be missing for that game against Scotland. Now, some very sad news from the World Cup. World Cup head coach for France, Didier Deschamps, will miss his side's final group game following the death of his mother. The French Football Federation has confirmed that. Deschamps learned of his mother's passing on Tuesday morning and has been given permission by the Federation President Philippe Diallo to fly back to France to attend the funeral. In a statement, the Federation said assistant coach Guy Stéphane will take charge of the squad against Norway and until Deschamps returns to the USA. From everyone here at Golazo Network, our thoughts and prayers are with Didier and his family at this time. Time for a short break here on Scoreline 48 Nations. We've got plenty more coming up for you in a couple of minutes.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days, but the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
I look crazy. It's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. They're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tommy, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad would want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Soccer isn't a new game in the United States. The immigrants brought it here in 1912.
The opportunity to play for my country, I just could not pass that up.
We're all very proud of you.
Not everyone is aware of what happened in important historical moments for American soccer.
I was a kid that shouldn't have made it. Kid from Nacogdoches, Texas.
Clint Dempsey Doodle.
Kind of one of those things I wasn't going to be denied.
People criticize me often.
You can't take it seriously. It's the USA.
But I get to have that attention because I'm good.
We were carrying the weight of American soccer on our shoulders.
I'm gonna put it shot.
Probably unfair to 20 guys.
When he looks at you, he looks like he wants to kill you. And I have respect for that.
It's about how much are you willing to give to win.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
The USA has realized its dream.
Dempsey through the wall! What can't this kid do?
Welcome back to Scoreline 48 Nations. Don't forget for more on the stories that have shaped this sport in the States with the US men's soccer trilogy on Paramount Plus. The $1 billion goal, You Don't Know Where I'm From, Dog and Pulisic, multiple eras, one passion, all streaming on Paramount Plus for you. Don't forget the World Cup action just keeps on coming on Wednesday. We've got 6 more games to look forward to. It is a feast of football. It gets underway at 3 p.m. Eastern. A couple of games from Group B. Switzerland against Canada. Bosnia and Herzegovina against Qatar. And then after that, 6 p.m., it's Group C's turn. Morocco, Haiti. Scotland versus Brazil in Miami. And then Group A, their turn at 9 p.m. South Africa, South Korea. And then Czechia taking on Mexico. Delighted to say we can join John Bucketsheimer for all of the betting action looking ahead to these games. Buckets, just looking back, how have you got on this week so far?
It's been a pretty good week so far, as long as I don't have to talk about the England match. That one was not a fun one for me, but I imagine it wasn't fun for anyone. So besides that, though, it's been a good bit of fun. On Morning Footy, I broke down the Portugal game, in which we got Portugal team total and Bruno Fernandes assist. We had Messi to score earlier this week. Both teams to score, missed in that game. Olise assist. Just bet it every single match. It doesn't matter. We also got a couple cashes in Norway with team totals and both teams to score. All around, it's been a really fun week here, and having a pretty good run of bets so far. So we're going to see if we can keep that going with our 6 matches taking place tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of yeses in there, which is exactly what we want to see. So what have you chosen in terms of your bets for Wednesday?
I've chosen one bet for all 6 matches tomorrow. We're going to speed run through these, starting with Bosnia versus Qatar. You know I'm a big fan of the Bundesliga, so Ermedin Demirovic to score or assist. They have to put in a big performance here, and we're getting that at even money. I'm expecting Bosnia to get at least 3 goals here, so look out for Edin Dzeko and look out for Demirovic. Switzerland versus Canada. Switzerland over 1.5 team total at plus 125. I know that Canada just won 6-0. I know that Canada are in form right now. I don't care. If Mbolo and Ndoye play how they're supposed to be playing, Switzerland's getting at least 2 here at plus money. Morocco versus Haiti. Ismail Saibari, anytime goal scorer. He was the first Moroccan player to score in back-to-back World Cup games. Let's make it back-to-back-to-back here at even money. Absolutely love what he's doing with the squad, and I don't think Haiti's going to put up much defense here. Then Scotland versus Brazil. Don't worry, Ian. I see everyone giving you hate online for saying that Scotland's going to win. I've got your back kind of here. I don't know if they're going to win, but they're good enough to score here. You know I'm going both teams to score at plus 125. I think you said 2-0 Scotland. Let's go 2-1 Scotland so everyone's happy here and we're cashing our bets. Czechia versus Mexico. I got Czechia to win or draw, which is Czechia double chance at minus 115. I know that Mexico is the much better team. I know that they're playing at home. They're motivated, but they don't need to win. And Czechia, for as poor as they've been, this is their last chance to turn it around and make something happen. And I think they're going to be desperate and at least get a point out of this one. And final bet, South Africa taking on South Korea. South Korea over 1.5 team total at minus 115. They need to pick up a big win here. We know that they're good enough to score goals, even though they looked poor against Mexico on attack here. And South Africa is a team that you can get your confidence back in, expecting to get at least 2 goals here at minus 115.
Okay, cheers, Buckets. Well, good luck with all of those. We'll check in with you tomorrow to see how you got on.
No party.
Exactly.
Oh, no buckets, no party. No buckets, no party.
Let's tear this place up. Damn it.
Bye, Buckets. Thank you. Good night. How do I follow that? Well, you are going to pick your games to watch. You've got a few to choose from, 6 in total. Who's going to go first? You?
So, yeah, I'll go first, and I'll go full myopia, full thinking about the United States and the United States only, because if you look at the permutations of the World Cup and the draw going forward, the winner of Bosnia and Herzegovina and Qatar will face the United States in the round of 32, almost certainly. If there is a winner, if it ends in a draw, it is unlikely that that team will make it to the next round. So I think if you look at the current situation in that group, if Qatar wins, I think it's a pretty favorable matchup for the U.S. If Bosnia wins, I still think the U.S. have a pretty good chance of advancing past that round of 32. So that is the game that I'm most looking out for because it is the one that most affects the United States, the host nation.
Okay, Ian, what are you going for?
Obvious choice here for me. Looking forward to seeing Scotland against Brazil in Miami.
Should we do it again? Oh, no Scotland, no party.
There was me thinking you were going to choose Haiti, Morocco.
Yeah, I was thinking about it there. But after watching England's shambolic performance, I decided to go for someone a little bit more exciting. That is, of course, the Scottish national team, let alone the Brazilian national team. Actually, I'm more intrigued to see how Brazil handled this occasion, right? There's an immense amount of pressure, obviously, with Neymar potentially starting this game or at least appearing in this game. No Rafinha in this game. How will Vinicius Jr., how will Endrick do in this game, who I've apparently heard from Ancelotti that he's possibly going to go 90 minutes.
He's going to pick him. He's going to. The memes are coming to an end. I've had so much joy in the last 3 days.
I'm looking forward to seeing this game, though, for Scotland's fans out there. Every single one of them already got a bit of sunburn. Every single one of them, I'm sure, are enjoying a few nightclubs down there in Miami. It's a bit dangerous. I'm just going to throw it out there. There's a few I visited as well that, yeah, I'll maybe give a few recommendations to my boys. But this is a huge game and a big moment for Scottish football. If they spring a surprise here, Scotland could beat Brazil for the very first time. They played them 10 times previously, lost 8 of them, never won.
Well, they drunk Boston dry after winning the Haiti game. They'll probably drink Miami dry.
I don't think that's possible.
They're trying. Yeah, if there is a place where you're never going to run out, it would be Miami.
And across Golazo Network, we'll keep you right up to date with all of the action. It kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern with morning footy. 2 p.m. the matchday team are here for you. And then after those games kicking off, I think at 3 p.m, you've got full reaction with matchday as well at 5 p.m. And then we're back for match night at 8 p.m. And we will wrap up the entire day as we have just done here with Scoreline 48 Nations at 11 p.m. Eastern. Good stuff, guys. We've had spirited debate, I think, is probably the best way to describe it. We've got plenty
spirited
more.
singing at the end,
yes,
too.
Yes, exactly.
The OGs of
we will see
Scoreline.
you very soon
What else
here
could go
on
wrong?
Golazo Network. Bye for now.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?